Hey folks, Tim here from Rockout Videography again. Today we're going to take you behind the camera, so to speak, and we're going to show you our home recording studio, which is also where we make our YouTube videos. So stick around. So first, let's talk about this room, what it is, and the dimensions. About 26,000 of you have watched our video on home recording studio design. And in that video, we showed a layout of what this room is supposed to turn into. And I would say right now we're about 80-90% of the way there. This room is 29 feet from the back wall behind me to the other direction. And it's 16 feet from this wall to the curtain. We've got about 12 feet over on the other side, and we'll talk more about those dimensions when we get over there, but I should be showing an overlay right now, and you can kind of see what the room looks like. All right, so let's start right over here. Right here is just where we right now kind of store all of our tripods and the stuff that we're using on pretty much a weekly basis. For studio lighting, we're using these newer NL660 studio lights. And what I'm going to do is anytime I'm talking about something and we've done a review on it in the past, I'll go ahead and put a little thumbnail up there just so that when the video's over, if you want more information on any of the stuff that we're talking about, you can go look at the review we've done. We also have a variety of other studio lights that we use here. We're currently using this newer teleprompter with a Amazon Fire tablet to do our narration and dialogue in the videos that you guys watch every week. Over here, this is a cool little deal. This was bought for our Zoom L8 recorder, which we've been using for pedal demos. We use that recorder for what we've done musical theater with it. Oh, I should mention, by the way, that behind the camera is Sophia doing the video today. So we've used that a lot, and that's what this was bought for. But this has turned out to just be like a really super handy stand for putting pedals up or putting the recorder or anything that we need to work on. Come on over here and get a little bit better angle closer on this. All right, so that's what this is. This thing's super handy. Down here, we've got a couple of these Cool Music 100-watt battery-powered PA speakers. I can turn these things into well, they're great on acoustic guitar, they're great on vocals, they have multiple inputs in them, but with the right pedals, I can turn them into a bass amp or a guitar amp, which is pretty cool. And then down here, I've got my Fender Rumble 30, which was a birthday gift from the indestructible Jimmy Durden. And believe it or not, this thing is actually loud enough to play with the drum set. I've actually used it at band practice. And lately, we've just been using it when we demo pedals. It's always set up, and basically when you just need to plug in a bass and jam, that thing's always available. Over here, one of our newest additions, we have this Yamaha keyboard. It is a MX49, and this thing sounds really cool. I gave Sophia the old keyboard that we had. You're using it for your vocal practices lessons, right? Yeah. So this is a new one. This has really, really great sounds. It doesn't have weighted keys, unfortunately, but I'm not a piano player. Now, Sarah in the Burn Lacquers would find that irritating. Okay, my singer, she's a really good piano player, and she's used to weighted keys. But for me, it's not a big deal. The sounds are good for recording, and that's what mattered the most. Now, here's something kind of weird. What we're doing here, this is a Depucheng 12-channel, basically an analog mixer. And we're using this just for when we're having jam sessions up here in the room. So 12 channels go in. The only thing about this board that really kind of sucks is that the effects don't sound good. So we're using this old MIDI Verb 3, and it's going into this old just PowerPod 4-channel PA system, which is driving the speakers and stuff that we have over here. So that's what we're using for vocals. We can plug keyboards into it whenever we want to, whatever we're going to do. And we got a dust cover just to keep the dust off of that. One of the things that you're going to run into whenever you're doing a home recording studio is you're going to have issues with storage. And what we're doing is we're using these IKEA wall units right here, or bookshelves. I don't know what you call them, but they're really great. And you can get IKEA has a variety of different boxes basically that fit in these cubbies, and then we use whatever. At the bottom here, we've got like tools, AV connectors, a bunch of tool boxes that we can take with us on the road when we're doing a job. And then we're storing a lot of our microphones and other gear over here. Everything is labeled so that I can find it. If you don't use something for a couple months, you find that you don't remember where you decided to put something, so it's best to just have everything labeled so that as you walk up, you can just look at it and see it. And this is kind of the guitar corner too. Right here we have Sophia's current favorite guitar, which is the Squier Classic Vibe Telecaster Deluxe. We also have a Mexican Telecaster like the classic style. This is cool, and I got something with humbuckers because I wanted it for heavier music. I suck at guitar. I'm really horrible, but that doesn't stop me from still playing it anyways and having fun with it. And the pedal board, we did a video on that. That's the current pedal board for guitar. Almost everything's on there. The rat pedal's not hooked up. And this board has room on it. I can put like my Joyo cab box or the American Sound and a cab emulator on that if I want to. This amp right here, the Fender 50XL, this is really cool. Does it sound as good as a real Fender Twin or a real Fender Princeton? No, it doesn't. And you shouldn't expect that Fender was going to sell an amp for under $300. It sounded as good as a $1,300 amp, but it does sound really cool. It's good for recording. But like I said, I've got a Joyo cab box. We also have the America Sound pedal and the California Sound pedal, and we've got a couple of Sonic Cake cab pedals. So for recording, we would probably use that. But for jamming and hanging out, this is a good amp. It's really cool. This thing is super old, and it sounded like crap from day one. It's an old Line 6 Spider that I bought from Guitar Center almost 20 years ago. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. And then behind there's my old Fender Performer, which is a 100-watt amp. Again, it's not like a Fender Twin exactly. It's got a tube preamp in it, and then it's solid state. But it's really, really loud, pretty cool. And then just unpowered speakers that hook up to the sound system I just described. So the drum set. This drum set I've had for about 20 years. And it is a Pacific brand, which is, I'm not sure what it's called now. I'll put something in there if I bother to look it up there in the description, some text. But I think it's like Pacific Drum something, I can't remember. But it's Drum Workshop is what it is. It's like, this is to Drum Workshop what Squier is to Fender. And over the years, all the cymbals have been replaced. A lot of this stuff I got from Judd, my drummer in the Burnlackers. He's really cool about donating me cymbals and stuff. We just recently added that ride cymbal. That was the last cymbal that needed to be replaced because the stuff that came with it didn't sound very good. So it's an inexpensive drum set, but the shells sound good with good heads on them. And the hardware is functional and usable. So we use this for recording projects and stuff. The 62 reissue P-Bass, we did a video on that recently. Technically, it's a US vintage 1993 62 precision bass would be the actual correct term for it. Here's a really cool bass that we have not done a review on yet, but we will because I think this is probably, this may very well be the best jazz bass that Squier has put out. This is a 2007 vintage modified 70s jazz. They no longer have the vintage modified line. Right now you can get the classic vibe version of this. This one was made in the Court factory in Indonesia, and what's really cool about it is it has the Duncan design pickups on it, and we'll explain more of that when we do an actual full review of this. Alright, coming over to bass amps. This is an amp that I bought about 9 years ago, and it's a really good amp. This is they no longer make this, but it's a TC Electronics BG250. They make two versions of this. One of them comes with two 10-inch speakers. This is the one with the 15. This is a really cool amp. This is, 250 watts, I think. And then right here, we have the bass amp. This is the amp that I bought in 1993, about the same time that I bought that 62 reissue P-Bass. And this is what I gigged with in the Burnlackers for a long time. This thing is ridiculously heavy. It just stays here in the studio now. That's why I bought this when I started gigging again. There's no way I was lugging this thing around, loading it in and out of a truck. I don't even own a truck anymore. I don't even know. Yeah, I could get this in a hatchback. But this thing is about 100 pounds with the enclosure, just the head. It's all tube. It sounds amazing. And then this is the 810 Ampeg cabinet. And yeah, it's the 810 cabinet. I don't know what else to say about it for Ampeg, but this thing is so loud and it sounds so good. So it's still viable for recording. I think, because I've had this for 30 years now, so I think I'm on like my third set of tubes. It's been a long time since I've replaced tubes, but because I don't use it as much as I used to. In the corner here, you can see bass trap. So this is 3.5-inch thick rock sole insulation behind burlap in a frame bolted to the wall. And I guess now is a good time to talk about the acoustics in this room. It's got carpets, and the carpet is soaking up a lot of the high frequencies. So in trying to get things balanced, I've kind of tried to avoid any other high frequency only absorption. So we've got the bass traps, which are helping a lot. And then we have on the back wall behind the drum set, and then here, these are what is known as the depot diffuser, and you can look it up online. The guy came up with a step diffuser design that uses standard size lumber, and we put this thing together, me and the kids, just with our nail gun, and then we put the absorbers on the side because, according to my research, these step style diffusers perform even better when they have absorption on the sides, and in order to cover the windows they needed to be that big, and that's what these things are doing. They're up against the window resting on the sill, and there's a rubber gasket around them, and they're screwed in, so they're airtight, and they're a lot of mass. So this is doing a lot to keep sound from coming out this direction of the house or sound coming in. Unfortunately, this room is not a soundproof recording studio, right? Oh, and to mention again, sorry, I'm just doing this off the cuff, guys, but those of you that watch the videos, you'll notice this is the area where I'm doing my narration and dialogue when we're doing our gear reviews and other episodes. All right, so coming back here, you can see that we've got our cable management is just pegboard. We've got tons of headphones and different cables. We're storing our music stand and our stands back here. Even, believe it or not, in a studio, a step ladder is an incredibly helpful thing to have. I literally just replaced a light bulb using it before we started filming this. We've got a keyboard stand back here. My cajon is back here right now. It's set up with a kick pedal to be used as part of a cajon drum kit. Again, we need to show you guys that. We've got the diffuser and absorber. Here's my bass guitar pedal board. This right here, the purpose of this, we have a ton of bags and guitar cases and gig bags, and they used to just sort of like stack in a corner somewhere, and it looks just really crappy. So this is one of those plastic outdoor storage boxes for like to put pool toys or pool supplies in or whatever. So we're using that, and then this is just a case right now that's got a bunch of gear in it that we take off-site when we're doing work. We've got a camera slider back there that we need to put together and start playing with. And then over here, one of the issues with this area right now is that with the bass amps here, you've got this big flat space for the waves to hit. So the side of this bar on this side is actually got a bunch of holes in it, and it's basically the leaky wall concept. So there's burlap behind that, the same as the absorbers and the bass traps, and then there's 3.5 inches of rock wool and then fabric, so that the bass waves can kind of pass through this instead of just reverberating and bouncing back and forth back in the corner. At least that's the theory. And then the bar, there's always been a bar up here. And I decided that if I was going to use this much space in my studio, and I'll explain why the bar is important, that I wanted to try to do something acoustic with it. So there's already the leaky wall. This is two modules, I guess you could say, of the same step diffuser, the depot diffuser that's on the walls. So sound that hits this bar, it's being diffused. The bar is super important. In our last Q&A, we addressed a comment, a suggestion by one of the viewers that was talking about how he felt that a bar in a room this size was a waste of space. But this is a place where we hang out. So again, let's talk about this room being multifunctional. Clearly, it's just a music room to have band practice, to have jam sessions. The kids play music up here with their friends. We film YouTube videos up here. This room also can take a table right here, and it can be a podcasting space. We have all of the gear to do podcasting. We've got the A10 Mini. The Zoom L8 makes an excellent podcasting mixer, and we've got all of our cameras. What we're using Canon G50s. We've got 3 of them. And then we also have 3 Canon HF-R800s, I believe they are, which are inferior to these, but they still work as a B or a 4th, 5th, or 6th camera for a live performance. We've used that 6 camera setup for filming musicals, and we've used similar stuff for filming live bands before. But this room is a place to hang out. So if you're having a jam session, you're recording, you're doing whatever, it's cool to have a place for people to set their stuff down. People can take a break, you can sit, you can drink. It doesn't have to involve alcohol. The kids use it with their friends when they're up here. You can drink sodas or milkshakes or whatever. But it's kind of a social spot. But it is also used as a work surface. So you will see in a lot of our videos that I might set like a product or a pedal or something up on here and film it. I can use it for a thumbnail for taking a picture of something. I hang a cloth over the front of it, get rid of the stools, and then that's a backdrop to take product placement like photos for the thumbnails for some of the stuff that we've reviewed. This wall, speaking of acoustics again, because of all of the different size picture frames and depth, it's not diffusion in the sense of mathematical diffusion, but it is helping to just break up this flat wall and keep it from just being such a reflective surface. Again, now you can really see what I'm talking about, the different depths and the different sizes of this stuff. Again, not mathematical diffusion, but it's helping to break stuff up. All right, so over here, this is where we do all of our mixing, all of our editing. Sometimes this is an area where I might sit if I think that having the computer or this kind of stuff in the background looks cool. So you'll see a lot of our videos are filmed with a perspective kind of similar to this, maybe with me sitting in the chair. We still have not put our sound absorbers up on the walls behind the speakers and at our points of first reflection yet. So we need to do that. We're using, I'm going to put the description of these monitors. I feel they're MX, what? BX5s? I've been using these for like 15 years, so I know them. And that's the thing, is that the bass traps are helping with the mixes. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the ceiling, but I need to do something here and above the drum set for absorbing some of the reflections. But what we use for all of our mixing is we use Studio One version 6 Pro. That's what we're using for all of our multi-tracking and stuff. One thing I forgot to mention is that over by the drum set, there are also 2 8-channel snakes that go all the way along the back behind the bar, and they end up back here. So what we're using, what we've had for a long time, is we have a PreSonus 8-channel interface with a PreSonus 4-channel headphone amp. We also have another headphone amp that we can run over there. So one of our snakes has 4 1/4-inch returns as well. So I can run something this way that's 1/4-inch. I can also do headphone out that way, then add another headphone mixer and split the signal more and more. We've got these blackout curtains here covering this window. It's adding a little bit of absorption to help with the acoustics of the room. But more than anything, it keeps the light out. Because believe it or not, when you're doing video work, just the difference in how the sun has moved in, say, 15 minutes can make a difference in the way the lighting looks in a room if it's coming through the window. You won't ever notice it, but if you're editing 2 clips that were filmed 15 minutes apart, you might notice a difference in your white balance or just the amount of illumination that's there. So that's basically the reason for the curtains, is just to cut that all out. When we're doing our video editing, we use HitFilm Pro. So that's what's used on the computer. Dual monitors. The computer was custom built for me by a friend of mine. We also This is where we hang out, watch movies, and also play video games and stuff. So we've got our PlayStation 2, which is still good. There's good games for that. And we've got a PS4. We haven't gotten PS5 yet. We're still having fun with the PS4. And then basically, yeah, you've just got the speakers for the TV and everything else that's here. We have a Canon printer that will also print on CDs and DVDs, which is cool. The whiteboard is where I keep track of all the work I'm doing and what videos are up next. And this is just where we're charging all of our batteries. So we're having to charge camera batteries, light batteries. Then we've got portable stuff for phones and just for other things that we might be running. We're charging our PlayStation controllers over here. These are lights that we take with us. They clamp to a table. They allow us to look at our mixer without a lot of light. Because if you're filming bands or you're doing like musical theater or any of that kind of stuff, you're going to be in a pretty dark area when you're working. So you need some kind of light for that. All right, I think that's it. Thanks for taking the time to watch our studio tour. We've still got some work to do in here, and we'll probably do another tour in like a year and kind of see how we've gone. Until then, I want to thank everybody who's been subscribing to the channel. We've been growing in leaps and bounds, and everybody who leaves comments and interacts with us, that's also really, really cool. So until then, everybody, have a great day.